Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're in the right place at the right time. Today is Tuesday, and it's a little bit past 5 p.m. We had a little technical difficulties getting this show up and running today, but I'm sure you understand. Thank you for sticking around and staying. We got a great show lined up for you today. We have a brand new guest, somebody who's never been on the show before, Mr. Jones, and I'm so looking forward to having him give us his testimony on today. And it is truly a testimony. But before we get started, the first thing I want to do is give a shout out to my mentor, Dr. Hunt. Dr. Hunt and I have been traveling together for 30 plus years. And out of the 30 plus years that we have been traveling together, he has been a blessing to both me and my family, as well as I have been a blessing to both him and his family. Now, those that follow me, they know that I give a shout out every time I go live to my mentor. And the reason for that is because I want you to understand the value of a mentor. Somebody that has been in this life longer than you and has more wisdom and knowledge exceeding much. And that wisdom and knowledge they're willing to share with you so that you don't have to struggle as much, because you have somebody who's been here and knows how to navigate and tell you how to navigate. So get a mentor, somebody that you can trust, pray for them, study with them, be with them, and allow them to be a part of your life, because mentors are totally valuable, okay? You do not want to not have several mentors in your life. So you all continue to follow the wisdom of a mentor, and you'll go a long way. All right. I want to invite you guys to go over to my website, ask-dr-ron.com. When you get over there, I want you to browse around, check out all of my advertisers. These advertisers make it possible for me to do what I do, okay? Without them, I would not be able to come to you with all of these informative and inspirational shows. I'm going to talk about some of these advertisers for a brief second. Sir Synergy. If you are interested in learning about the solar energy, you definitely want to give Sir Synergy a call. They can help you navigate in the solar energy space. They are there to be able to inform you, educate you, tell you about solar panels, how they work, all of the things with solar panels that can help you make money even. So definitely reach out to Sir Synergy, and they will be more than happy to help educate you about solar energy. Port Again Sam. Port Again Sam has been bringing in some of the best wines and spirits from all over the world. Sam has his holiday inventory in. If you know anything about Sam, you are going to be able to find your new holiday special, whether it be wine or cognac. He's got it all in stock at the moment, so you definitely don't want to miss out. Get in touch with Port Again Sam. Schedule your wine tasting, and I promise you, you'll find your new wine or spirit. Okay, and Prince Hunter Financial Group. I'm going to talk about them for a brief second. Prince Hunter Financial Group, they help people understand how to navigate the stock market. The stock market is helping people make millions of dollars on a daily basis, okay? So I encourage you, if you want to know how to make some money and understand what's going on so you can understand what you're looking at, then you definitely want to reach out to Prince Hunter Financial Group. The thing about Prince Hunter, he's running a promotional special right now. Okay? If you tell them you heard about it on this show, you will get four free classes. Four free classes. And out of that four free classes, it'll help you understand something that you did not know before about the stock market. Okay? So I encourage you to definitely reach out to the Prince Hunter Financial Group. Click on any of the banners. It'll take you to their website, and you'll be able to understand more and be able to get, some information that you never had before. So, like I said before at the beginning of the show, I'm so excited to have a brand new guest on the show today. He has never been on the show before. He's been a fan of the show. He has been a mentor to me for a very long period of time. We have conversations, boy, I tell you, sometimes the phone wires start heating up and burning. The conversation be so heated. But I'm so excited to have him for the very first time on the show, Mr. Walter Jones. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Doctor. Greatly appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I know we had a little technical difficulty at the beginning, but we got it straightened out now. So now many people may not understand how the universe has a flow to it. And what I mean by that is I didn't know when I first started talking to you that you actually worked at your first teaching assignment at the grammar school where I was a little young puppy at, Dixon, 1,000 years ago.
Today it does seem like 1,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, we were talking one day, and all of a sudden, you was like, "My first job was at Dixon." I said, "Huh?" You want to talk about that a little bit?
Well, yeah, a little bit. My reason, well, let me give you a quick lead up to that. The reason I selected Dixon Elementary School because of the principal. The principal of the school was Norval B. Rapp. Well, he was my teacher at Edward Jenner School.
Okay.
So now I want you to picture this. Now I grew up in Cabrini Green with
Okay.
Cabrini Green projects on the near north side, and we went to Jenner School, and he made us wear. He didn't make us, but he suggested that we wear ties because that gave you points to be like the number one in the class. So by wearing a tie, having a good grades, being on time, and all of this, you would have the number one seat in the class. So me being creative, I didn't want to wear these ties all the time. So I got remember the cowboys used to wear those little string ties
Right, right, right,
with the
right.
shoelaces? Well, I got
Yeah.
those, and I started wearing those. So he said, now, Walter, that's not a regular tie, so I can't give you 2 points.
Uh-huh.
He said, but I said, you didn't specify. You just said a tie.
Right.
This is a tie. So he said, well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to give you 1 point because you're not going to get 2 points. So I was so impressed because I had him like maybe fifth, sixth grade, and then I had him for seventh grade. So he was, very instrumental in my life because he wanted us to be gentlemen. And
Mm.
that kind of started, my love for education. And, it was really funny because I had another teacher, Juanita Wilkerson, and we
Mm.
used to call her Wiggy. And she was a math teacher. And she never missed a day. When I first started grammar school back in, I don't even, in the middle 40s, and she never missed a day.
Mm-hmm.
She fell out on the playground, broke her wrist, broke her arm.
Mm.
They took her to the doctor, and she was back to school the next day.
Mm.
So, in terms of being committed, I saw some people who were committed to
Mm-hmm.
education, which helped me have my love for education.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I had another teacher. You see, my teachers are kind of, I'm into my teachers, uh,
Mm-hmm.
was Herman Tucker.
Okay.
And,
I'm just impressed you can remember the names.
well,
That's a long time. You said middle 40s. I'm like, wow.
when people have impression on you, it's a long impression. I can
Right.
remember everyone that was part of my life
Mm-hmm.
in my, growing up. I so anyway, Herman A. Tucker. Well, the first day he walked into school, he was so clean. I mean, he was sharp. I mean, he was immaculate dresser all of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And he would come up with punishments for us like the power, the thing. And like the power would be he'd take a number and multiply it. Let's say you take 10 to the 10th power.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll make you do it. And you have to do all of that on a piece of paper, turn it in. Well, unbeknownst to us, he had a slide rule.
Mm.
And he would quickly calculate it and say, "Oh no, that's not right. Well, you gotta do this over." And then he would have something called the thing. So he always challenged us and made us do things that were out of the ordinary.
Mm-hmm.
Say for example, if you were talking in the class, he would say, "In the future, I, Walter Jones, will conduct myself in a manner that is befitting of any student in Herman A. Tucker's room."
Mm.
And he'd
Wow.
make us write that about 100 times,
100 times.
because he got slick up. I would not talk in class. Well, we would. I know I don't know what other people would do, but I would get a rubber band, tie two or three pencils together, and I would write.
And
So
you were right. And duplicate it at the same time.
right. So
Yeah.
not to
Yeah.
say that I was a bad person in school,
You was a
but
kid.
I
Yeah.
I I had to be challenged, and my teachers definitely saw that in me, and they
Encouraged you.
they encouraged me.
Yeah. Now I got a question. Okay. You mentioned being in school in the 40s. Now, I know my history a little bit, just a little bit. And I understand that the civil rights movement did not begin to with segregation and things of that nature until the 50s and 60s really took effect. So you're talking about, I guess, what the term that they would use back then, colored schools.
Well,
So all the colors went to the same school, and then the whites went to their school. And you talking about in Chicago, because Cabrini
okay, in
Green.
Chicago. Now let's do. I'm
Yes,
gonna
sir.
do a flip flop on that. I
Okay.
grew up in Cabrini Green projects, but we
Mm-hmm.
had just as many white people in the projects as we had black folk.
Really?
So I grew up in integration all my life
Okay.
because uh, we had, like, okay, Jenner School was a public school. St. Dominic's was a Catholic school, which was the next block over, 2 blocks over,
Mm-hmm.
and St. Joseph's was a Catholic school.
Mm-hmm.
So we had public and Catholic schools all around the neighborhood. So we had many Italian families. I mean, one of the biggest Gangs, if we're talking about street gangs, was a gang called, the Sharks.
Mm-hmm.
So it's and we were always interacting. I mean, it wasn't nothing new. We went to Boy Scouts
Mm-hmm.
together, church. I mean, we did everything together. Played in the playgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
So dealing with the opposite race has never been a problem because we grew up
Mm-hmm.
with them all the time. We did the social activities and all of that.
And that was in the 40s. Now, when did it become a problem?
Uh, I would say probably
The 60s?
in the 60s,
Mm-hmm.
because I was in high school from 55 to 59. And as I was getting out of high school, I noticed that there was a major transition,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't understand segregation because I was never in a segregated environment until I got married and moved into a neighborhood.
Gotcha.
You
Yeah.
because when I went to college, I was the only black in my class.
Gotcha.
So I mean, that's like it's kind of
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
So I
And
kind
and
of
then
grew up.
you were in sports, so the team had mixed also, right?
Unfortunately, well, when I went to a junior college, yes, but when I got a scholarship to a 4-year school, I was the only black on the team because I went
Mm-hmm.
to a. Now picture this: I went to a private parochial school
Mm-hmm.
as a Baptist child in an all Catholic school, and I was the only black there.
Okay.
So, in terms of you know dealing with the opposite race, I mean, it was no problem. It was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Uh, Growing up on the near north side, we have access to everything. Oak
Mm-hmm.
Street Beach, Lincoln Park.
Okay.
We would walk to a lot of stuff.
Okay.
You
And
know,
be safe.
oh yeah, old. Well, the major difference was now I got to back up a little bit because during that time you have to remember that we couldn't group like the kids do today.
Mm-hmm.
We couldn't even go downtown
Mm.
unless graduation, Thanksgiving, maybe Christmas or Easter.
Mm.
If it was one or two people, we could do that. But if you're talking about six, seven, eight people, police would stop
Mm.
you.
Wow.
I mean, it was like there's certain neighborhoods that you just did not go as a group,
Right.
and if you went as an individual, you subject to get beat up.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I know you and I talked off the air before we started, and we were talking about some of your inspirations, and you spoke about your mother and father. Why don't you share a little bit of that with us?
Okay, sure. Um, Both my parents valued education. My father had 2 years of college, and my mother had 2 years of college. But now you have to remember if you don't, but short history in the 30s and the 40s, a black man, black woman, you really couldn't get a job.
Mm-hmm.
My old man had to. He last job he had was he was a pin spotter at a bowling alley.
Mm-hmm.
My mother did domestic work, so that was what they did. So when my
Mm-hmm.
father got involved in politics, things changed
Mm-hmm.
because and now he had a steady job. He had access to to some things. One of the things that both my parents gave a lot to the community. My mother was one of the founders of Friends of Lower North Center. My dad had started a drum and bugle corps at Seward Park. He became a precinct captain, and he did a lot of things for the neighborhood. He got many people jobs who were just coming into Chicago. If they lived in the ward, my dad worked very diligently to get them jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so that was something he did. My mother, with her group, they would help the seniors. She would bake cakes and feed them, and that was something that my parents did all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I recall my dad would never give anybody any money, but if you said that your child was sick, was hungry, he did not let people in the project go hungry
Mm.
because he was a section foreman for the Bureau of Sanitation.
Mm-hmm.
So he would he had certain contacts where we would go and get food,
Mm-hmm.
and you know we would go get canned goods and boxes. We get everything, and we would distribute those to people. So if you knew in the town, my parents made sure that you had access to something,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what we saw. My sisters and brothers. This is what we saw on a daily basis. We didn't pay that much attention because these are parents.
Right.
But I no, I don't think I know that this had a very positive influence on me as I looked at things. Um, I thought initially I could do that being a chemical engineer,
Mm-hmm.
but doing in the early 50s and 60s, early 60s, wasn't no black people going into
That kind of feel.
that
Yeah.
kind of field. I thought about a lawyer, but then as I looked at lawyers, I backed up a little bit from that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I felt, I'd always been, teaching young people how to play basketball, teach them how to play chess and all that.
Mm. Right.
So I said, why not go into teaching?
There you go.
And my whole philosophy about going into teaching was very simple. I wanted the kids to learn because of me and not in spite of me.
Gotcha. Yeah,
So
now how long were you a teacher?
um, I was in education for 38 years.
38 years.
Uh,
Yeah.
I taught for 7, and I was a staff assistant for a couple of years. Then I was an assistant principal for about 25 years.
Yeah. Now let me ask you a question. During the time that you were a teacher, and I passed through your time as you were a coach and teacher at Dixon, what was the evolution of education for black children? Because, at some point in time, they start watering down, what they wanted us to know about history, civics, things of that nature. During your time, I know you all focused on making sure we knew some stuff. Otherwise, we wasn't gonna pass. Y'all kept us back. Because I never will forget. And it's no joke. This is serious talk. When I was in first grade, okay, first grade, the teacher talked my mother into keeping me back to repeat first grade. Now in first grade, all you got to do is know your colors.
Well, you have to know some of your numbers.
But my mom, not knowing no better, she allowed them to convince her that I had to stay back. Now this is in the what 60s,
Yeah.
So and later in life she realized that them white folks had tricked her. And she said that to me. Them white folks tricked me into keeping you back. So she wasn't going to keep me out of school, but she allowed me to repeat first grade. So then moving forward through my life, I was always smarter and ahead of everybody else in the classes that I was in, because I was a little older than them,
Hmm.
by a year. So it was interesting. So during that time that you were part of the educational system till the time you graduated, I mean, I'm sorry, not graduated, retired, what evolutionary, what changed? What made them change?
Well, let me see. All right. During the 60s and 70s, what let's go back to the community. Let's look at our community prior to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, when I was a young man, most of the stuff was segregated.
Mm-hmm.
When you grew up, it was still some segregation, meaning that I knew who the black barber was.
Right.
I knew who the black lawyer was.
Right.
I knew who the black dentist was because these were stables within our community.
Absolutely.
So we were constantly looking at black mentors, not really realizing that they were.
Right. That's
Because
right.
if I go to you to get my hair cut, oh, that's something I like. I might want to do that. I see the black dentist to go get my, oh, maybe that's, in other words, we saw opportunities as young people. And that's what, kind of manifested itself within us, that we always had somebody to emulate.
Right.
We go to the playground, like,
Heroes.
yeah,
Heroes in our
always had
neighborhood.
heroes, yeah. Because we go to the playground. I remember this one, Mr. Chapman. He checked our grades. If we didn't get good grades, we couldn't go on the playground. You know what I'm saying? So when this was the constant thing within us, but when they
Mm-hmm.
started watering down the curriculum, was in the 70s, 80s. That's when they started. Well, for example, when you was in school, you went to high school, you had what? 4 years of science, 4 years of math, 4 years of English. Okay. Well, by the time you hit the 80s and the 90s, that stuff was watered down.
Right.
It affected every school.
Right. Couldn't graduate without U.S. history. You had
Right.
to know the Constitution. All of those things. Yep.
So that I mean, it kind of floored me because this is what I grew up, and this is some of the things that I was teaching. So that that transition just jacked me up. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you because I didn't
Mm-hmm.
understand it. Because at the end of the day, our people would be the ones who would suffer from it.
Yep. Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
and they have.
Yeah. Now, before we went on the air, we were talking about inspiring young people nowadays. And you've done it, and I've done it. I did it with my kids. You did it with your nephews, and you still do it. When you encourage them to get good grades in school. I remember when my kids, my twins, were growing up. I used to tell them, "You bring me A's and B's, I give you $5, $10 for the A's, And I was telling you, I remember when my daughter called me. I'm talking about, I got three A's and a B. You owe me $30, you know. So
Yeah.
it was a motivation, and I know you told me you do it with your nephews even now. Encourage them to get good grades, and give them a little bonus for doing what you want them to do.
Well, my niece has been on the honor roll since first, like seemed like the first day she walked in school.
All right now.
My nephew is a pre-med student. This is starting his second year at the University of Illinois Chicago campus, and they kept me in the poorhouse. I told them, look, I'm a senior citizen on a fixed income now. You can't, because Cause they,
Oh,
cause
they,
not
they
only
was working
that,
that thing,
man, come on. I made the
huh?
mistake of they were here, so because they were both bowlers. Because my brother and sister-in-law are bowlers, so I started with them. Well, if you got your average, if you got 90 average, I'll give you $5. Or if you got 100, so I'm giving them money all the time about the grades,
Yeah,
behavior, just to kind of keep them going. And,
yeah.
and they know even now today. My nephew said, see, they call me Jones. He said, Jones, uh, I got four A's and a B in my college stuff. I said, and I said, you a grown man now, dude. But
He trying to keep it going.
but hey, I hooked him up, and then my niece is the same way. But she's an
Yeah.
honor student. She started doing sign language. I mean,
Whew.
she's highly motivated. The girl, she wants to do
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anytime they want to try something new, my whole thing is you willing to make the sacrifice. I don't want, my brother and I have the same philosophy. I don't want money to be a reason that you can't excel at what you want to do.
Gotcha.
Now the thing is, you can't change what you want to do every 5 minutes. That's
Right.
not gonna happen.
Right.
Because if you
Yeah.
say, I want to be a bowler, I ask you, how serious are you? Is this something that you really want to do? And if it is, then you got all the support in the world.
Absolutely.
And I
Yeah.
think that's what happened as far as we were concerned, Dr. Ron. I hear you say you've been with Dr. Hunt for 35 years.
30 plus years. Yes, sir.
So when you start looking at that, there's people that have seen you good, bad, and ugly,
Right.
and they still supported you. And I
Yep.
think as we go forward, we have to do the same thing
Yeah.
because everybody's not going. You don't know where people come from. You don't know
Right.
what they had to deal with. So you have to be compassionate, but you don't have to be a fool.
Right.
And
That's right.
and I think that just because you help somebody don't mean that you're weak. Because
Right.
when you help somebody, they have to make a commitment to you as well.
Absolutely. Yep.
Because my mentor says, okay, look, Lord, I want you to do this, 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 and that. Well, I didn't do the first thing. You're not serious.
Right.
Why are
Yep.
you wasting my time
Right. And my money.
and my money?
Right. Absolutely. Now, you talk about mentors, it's something that I talk about on a regular basis. And the reason why I feel like mentors are, worth their weight in gold and very valuable to all of us, because generally mentors have been in this thing called life for a very long time. And they know how to help you navigate, through life. Now I know you have been a mentor to many people in your life. You have helped people and not just financially, but you will give of yourself. You'll take time out of your busy schedule, go out and get a truck, help folks move, help folks do stuff, and that's what a person who received the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award has done without a thank you, without acknowledgement. And you've been doing that. I remember me and you having a conversation one day. You was like, man, what are you trying to give me this award for? I ain't did nothing. And then all of the accolades start coming in, your nephews, your nieces, and people start telling you about yourself. You remember the time you did this. Remember the time you did that. Remember this, that. And then you started scratching your head and thinking about, I guess I have done a few things in my life that would allow me to be able to receive such a prestigious award. Because you was bucking it at first. I ain't even lying. I was like, man, you taught me all these bad habits back in 8th grade, and it's your fault that I turned out to be the thug that I am today. And you say, don't blame that on me, but, I just say that in a jokingly manner because I didn't know that you were in my life back in 8th grade, that I have gone on to be who I am, and we had crossed paths once before, and even now, you and I are very still closely related and affiliated. He's 100 years old, and I'm half 100, so we still are connected, through
See,
life.
I'm not gonna say that's fake information none of that stuff. That you circumventing the truth.
Hey man, they got this thing where the truth, the fake news is the truth nowadays. You ain't seen Trump in action.
Man, come on.
But what I'm
We're not gonna get on that one.
Yes, sir. So, but what I'm saying is, you have been honored to be a part of the Love Is experience, by receiving the award back on 622. Now, a lot of people heard me talk about the event on 622. And on that event, this man had what, 5, 6 tables for the people that came help you celebrate. How does it make you feel to know that people supported you, and then later on you told me it was some folks you forgot about. you, you said, "Oh man, I forgot to invite the other half of the family." So how did it make you feel to be acknowledged and appreciated for all that you've done? You know.
Well, just as you and I had argued, and I had refused to deal with this, um, because it's very humbling. It's a humbling effect, and I appreciate. You never know how much you've done just by being you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what hit me harder than anything, that my family and my friends were committed to come to such and honor me in such an occasion as that. Uh, I had a young man that was there that he had mother and father, but they were going through some transition. And I took him and his brother in my house and raised them as my sons.
Mm-hmm.
They graduated from high school. He's a barber right now. And I'm just doing it because that's what I do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't I didn't really feel that I had to get an award for just doing what my parents have always done, what I've seen my parents do, and just being Walt Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Because people have helped me throughout my life.
Yes.
And I'm thinking that that's something you have to do, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And I can't remember the book, but it was one of those books that the guy, if I can paraphrase it, he says that our Creator put us on this earth with our gifts so that we could be a solution to solve somebody else's problems.
Amen.
So if I need to go see, I don't go to a dentist to get my car fixed. I go to what?
Mm-hmm.
I go to the automobile mechanic.
Right.
And so this is kind of, how things just hang back and linger in your mind, and you try to figure sometimes, why did I come up with this? Why am I doing this?
Mm-hmm.
And that's how my life has been, because at the end of the day, when I reflect back on it, it's something that my parents have done. It's something that my coaches, you know, it's something that my minister said. You know, Doc, I got married in 1962.
Mm.
I've been married.
That right there just stands all by itself. 1962, you got married. Go ahead, keep going. I'm sorry. That
And
just, ooh.
my wife will be 84 tomorrow.
Wow. Happy birthday.
I will be 84 in November.
84.
And we have been married.
I was, I was, I was, I
Anniversary
was
is coming.
close.
Go ahead.
I was close to 100 when I
No,
said
no, no,
100.
no, no, no. But see, there's even a history behind that
Uh huh.
because most of the men in my family died between 50 and 58.
Mm.
So my youngest son is 56 now.
All right now.
My oldest son is 61, 62.
Okay.
So, it's my son said, Dad, thank you. Thank you. I said, thank me for what? You broke the
Mm-hmm.
legacy. You broke the
Mm.
chain. So it's little things like that that I took for granted. You know, like I said, you and I got almost into a fight about about the presentation of the award because what I do is what I do. I mean, it's not,
Right.
you know,
Right.
uh, because
That's
too
true.
many people have helped me
Right.
for me not to, you know, help somebody else. That old cliche about pull somebody up by the book.
Absolutely.
Don't be crabs in the barrel and start pulling people down as they don't need to rise.
Right. Right.
Because if I can help you, I should be in a position to say, if this really what you want, are you willing to sacrifice? Are you willing to work? Then I should try to hopefully be in a position to help you attain those goals. Because this is
Absolutely.
what people did for me.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, one of the things about love is, and I talk about it regularly, we have a foundation that we're in the process of establishing now of all of the alumni that have received Presidential Lifetime Achievement Awards. And, love is a very real thing. And the premise of love is celebrating heroes and sheroes in our community. People that mainstream media don't pay no attention to. There were people that I have been knowing since the 70s that were honored on that day. See, God gave me this revelation. You didn't get here by yourself. So you need to acknowledge people that you have been knowing along the way. And it's my honor and privilege to be able to say that you were one of the oldest people that I have been knowing since the 60s. See, I've been knowing of you since the 60s. Even though we didn't know each other like we know each other now, but I've been knowing of you since the 60s. I graduated from 8th grade in the 60s. Okay? So to be able to honor you and all of the stuff that you have been doing all throughout your life, man, was an honor and a privilege. And of course you told them I failed all my classes when you got up there and made your speech.
No, I
So
didn't figure that.
no, I know, I'm just teasing.
Hey,
But for those, look,
if you had failed all your classes, you wouldn't be sitting up there with a doctor of philosophy, now would you?
I know that's right. Thank you,
All right,
sir.
so don't
Yeah, thank you, sir.
don't
But
get it twisted.
and for those who have not take time out to go over to the social media platforms, all of the people that have received awards, their speeches and their receiving of their award, the pinning of them getting their award is on there. You weren't there on 622, but the award is in perpetuity on the social media out there, so you can go and enjoy, all of us, receiving our awards on 622, June 22nd. But I think it's an honor and a privilege to have had the ability and had something to do with it. And I said this in a program not too long ago. I said, I thank God, the Creator, for allowing me to have something to do with celebrating people like yourself and others, that were honored to receive that award. And I look forward to continuing doing it if if the creator says the same, because I was ready to give it up, but y'all won't let me quit, you know. So I look forward to whoever else in the future is honored to be acknowledged for these type of things. So it's been a pleasure to be able to salute you and all that you've done, you know. Um, so what are you doing nowadays? I know you retired at 100 years old. I know you retired. I keep saying 100.
Well, I still work with a couple of community organizations. Um, we try to sponsor high school kids or kids in the neighborhood to go down to March Madness down in Champaign.
Okay.
We do that. I still uh, do little workshops and stuff. Not as much as I used to because, as I mentioned to you, 84 years old, you have to slow down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm taking care of my wife and making sure that she's okay. And those 100 years of playing basketball, as you say, and racquetball and being a jock, my knees are not the best at this point in time.
Right, right. I
But
understand.
I still try to stay active. I still love young people. I still work with my nieces and nephews, and you know, if there's somebody that needs my help, if I can deal with it, I deal with it. But and I take 2 vacations a year. I go down to Texas to see my son for about a month, and then I go to Florida for 2 or 3 weeks to visit my nephew.
Yeah, yeah. And when I grow up, I want to be like you. You know, be gone a month here, a month there. Just disappear from home. And hey, man, must be nice.
Well, the whole thing is that hopefully, during your lifetime, that you do the right thing in terms of when I was teaching new members class at church, I used to and they were talking about tithes and all that stuff. And my hope, and I would tell them as part of a financial thing, is that you start living on 80% of your salary from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
In order to gain wealth, you pay yourself first. So 10% automatically goes to you. 10% go to your creator, and 80% you live off of.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife and I kind of worked on that program.
Okay.
Not that we're wealthy, but that was some of the discipline because you do have to be disciplined to deal with that. Because when you get a raise, you look at that raise. Where's it going?
Mm-hmm.
You set some goals. You know, you set the goals, and then you have to follow up with you goal, do a plan, and work hard. Work hard.
Yep.
But don't just because you might make 50, 60, $100,000 a year. Don't live off that whole 100,000.
Right.
Live off you 10% automatically goes to you, which
Right.
means you don't touch it.
Right.
Now you still have to do your if you got annuities or whatever those other financial investments may be, your job, you still have to contribute to that because
Right.
that's part of the pie. You know, the one thing that you should never do is try to, you can't live paycheck to paycheck to paycheck
Right.
because everything
Because
is going
that's a
sky.
form of a prison. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, everything is going up. So you have to
Yeah.
always have that little cushion, that little sleeve. A
Yeah.
lot of people say, "Oh, it ain't possible."
Yeah.
Well, do you
It
smoke?
is. You just can't live high on the hog
Yeah,
like you doing.
yeah. How much are cigarettes now? $8 a pack.
No, man. Somebody told me a pack of cigarettes was almost $20 a pack.
Get out of here. So that's
Yeah,
$20. How many packs you smoke a week? That's, let's say you do 2 packs a week. That's $40
that's right.
times four. That's 160 to $200 a month.
That's right.
That's you blowing up in the air.
Yep, nothing but blowing up in the air. You know? Yep. No, it's funny you said what you said. It's not funny, but it's profound what you just said. I'm going to do a little name dropping right now. Evander Holyfield, the champ.
Yep.
The champ said, you let your young man work for your old man.
Oh,
So while you
exactly.
young, you doing what you need to make sure that your old man, when you get to being an old man, will be able to be comfortable.
Yes, sir.
So very profound words by the champ. You know, and he did that. Him and Mike Tyson talking about fighting again. I don't think it's gonna happen.
They better sit their old behinds down somewhere.
Hey, look, Mike Tyson's in shape though.
Oh
Don't
yeah.
don't mess around. That boy's in shape. But Mr. Jones, thank you for coming on the show. I appreciate it. Taking time out of your busy schedule, to come share, a little time. When we got started a little late today, we had technical difficulties, but I still think we were able to get in what we wanted to get in and talk about what we wanted to talk about. I know that you're traveling and doing a lot of things. Being of retirement age, rightfully so. I have two questions I normally ask people before, I let the show end. The first question is, will you come back and see me again sometime?
I'm gonna put that as a big question mark.
Okay. So you got to answer yes or no. There ain't no question mark there. It's a yes or a no. He being difficult, y'all.
Yeah, we'll do question number two.
Question number two is, what would you like to leave with the people before we end the show today?
I would say it's to have a plan for your life, have something that you're passionate about, that you're willing to make some sacrifices for. Uh, because if you don't, I don't know where you're going to be. You're just floating around. For example, I'm 6'4". I played basketball. I weighed 150 pounds soaking wet with 2 bricks in my pocket. But I was determined that wasn't nobody going to beat me once I hit that floor. If my grandmother would come out there on the floor playing against me, I would knock her down. I would push her, I would kick her, I would bite her. I would do whatever I had to do to win. I wouldn't cheat, but I'm going to play hard. I'm not going to give you up any slack. And that's how you have to do with life. Life is going to throw all kinds of stuff at you and don't care. You know, you working a job, cost of living is steady going up. Your salary's not going up proportionately. So you always got to know what you want to do and deal with it.
That's right.
Coming back on the show, Doc, probably so.
Good.
But, you know, as a young man, you have to make up your mind. What is it that you want? What are you passionate about? Because when you are passionate about it, it's not a job. You know, it's something that you enjoy doing. I
All
worked at
right.
Chicago Public School for 38 years. I didn't have a bad day
Mm,
because this is what I enjoy doing. I
absolutely.
taught new members classes for 10, 15 years. I taught financial services, showing people how to to develop a legacy and stuff like that. But the key thing is what? I'm teaching.
Right.
That is my passion, is teaching. I
Yeah.
enjoy teaching because, as I mentioned to you, Doc, I want people to learn because of me and not in spite. And if I
Absolutely.
got a tap dance, because when I was in the classroom, I taught special needs kids.
Mm-hmm.
So, we may do ABC, and I mentioned D, and they don't know what D is.
Right.
So you had to be versatile. If you had to get up and do a little dance, sing a little song, you did that
Right.
so that the kids could learn. Your whole thing was because of me. I'm gonna do this. It ain't got nothing about ego. I want to make sure that if you into Mr. Jones, if you come into Mr. Jones, you gonna learn something
Right.
because I'm gonna put something out there for you.
Absolutely.
And that's what people did for me.
Yeah.
Everybody that mentored me, anybody that's a significant part of my life have taught me something. And I've taken those words of wisdom, those gems, and made it part of me. And that's the who I am.
Absolutely.
Because I had many people to show me different things.
Absolutely.
I
Well,
hope I answered the questions.
yes, you did. Yes, you did. I thank you because you express yourself and it's from the heart, and I appreciate that. Thank you, man, for once again, coming on the show, taking time out of your schedule, and I just appreciate you so much. Many people don't know that you and I, we talk on a regular basis. We encourage one another. You encourage me. I encourage you. We both have good days and bad days, and then you beat me up, and then I feel bruised. But then I think about what you say, and I was like, hey, yo, he just inspired me. With all these lumps on my head, I feel inspired. But that's what it's about sometimes. You address what the need is at that time, and I appreciate you. Thank you. Appreciate it so very much. You know, we're gonna get out of here. I want you to stay right where you at. Once again, thank you, Mr. Jones. I'm gonna end the show. I want to invite you guys to
Thank you.
join me. My pleasure, sir. Um, I want to invite you guys to join me every Saturday from the desk of Dr. Ron, where I get a chance to talk to you guys about what's on my heart each and every week, every Saturday at 12 noon Central Standard Time. So please, join me, spread the word, tell somebody. We got some good stuff going on over here. I want to invite you guys to make donations. You see all these places here where you can make donations. Please do so. I thank you all so very much. For those that have made donations up to this point in time, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Without you, it would be difficult for me to do what I do. Thank you so very much. While you're here, please subscribe, like, and share. Please send this out to somebody. I know Mr. Jones said something that was an inspiration to you. So please send it out. Like and share. We'll let you know every time that there's a show coming up, so you'll know what's going on. I just want you to know I love you and ain't nothing you can do about it. Stay encouraged. Encourage someone, and be a blessing. And I look forward to seeing you guys on